And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Appreciate your patience here this morning as we got set and ready to go inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios. Great Lakes Honda City here with you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Central New York. Make your way over to Great Lakes Honda City to find your ride today. They have cars to buy and lease, and so whatever is the right choice for you. They do have the opportunity to buy, the opportunity to lease, and of course they have new and used vehicles on the lot. They have the Honda Pilot, as well as the Ridgeline, the Accord, the Civic, the HR-V, and so many more, including my favorite, which I've been driving for many, many years, the CR-V. And I love it. I absolutely love my CR-V. I've had a bunch of different versions of the CR-V as they've changed the style and the sleek, awesome look that they have now. I absolutely love. So make sure you go and get yourself your Honda vehicle today from Great Lakes Honda City. And I appreciate them so much for everything that they've done for me over the years. I love going out to Great Lakes Honda City. So much appreciation and many thanks to them. With that being said, we are up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. So wherever you are in the world, we thank you for being with us, hanging out on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And today's broadcast, we decided to do fantasy football a little bit early because you know that every other week on Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, we have our Laser Lounge with the Onondaga Community College Lasers. And so this is one of those weeks in between. And I thought to myself, why not dedicate the time all to fantasy football? Because normally we start the fantasy football power hour at 10 a.m. and we go until 12:30, 1 o'clock. So I was like, maybe if I go earlier, maybe we'll end closer to on time. So we'll see how we do today. But you could send your questions in from all over the world. Appreciate your questions. So make sure you send them over to us if you have a fantasy football question about your team, if you should make a trade, if you should drop, if you should pick up, whatever it may be, how you should set your roster. I'm always here to help and happy to help. So send it over to me, and of course you could send it to any one of our feeds. Just make sure you send it to the actual video on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt so that I'll see it, or that you send it to facebook.com/wakeupcalldt to this actual video that's airing live right now, or you could send it to the feed on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com for internet streaming radio. So send over your questions. Happy to answer them, and appreciate the Wildcat Sports Pub, our exclusive partner in our fantasy football coverage here weekly on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So much love to the wonderful team at the Wildcat Sports Pub. And of course, this is the Fantasy Football Power Hour, which always ends up being hours, but happy to be here with you for NFL Week 8 of the 2025-26 season. We're going to circle the games that we go to, so if it's your first time you've been on here, we start with Thursday Night Football. We go all the way to Monday Night Football. We work left to right on your screen. So we start with Thursday night, then we'll go over to the game next to it, which for this week in Week 8 is the Dolphins at the Falcons, and then we'll go Bears at Ravens, Bills at Panthers, and then we'll continue all the way to Monday Night Football, which this week, your Washington Commanders at the Kansas City Chiefs. I do want to make a note for you. Please make sure you make this note for yourself so that you don't have an open spot this week. There's a ton of teams off. This is the biggest bye week that we have had this season thus far. And so off the Arizona Cardinals, the Detroit Lions, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Las Vegas Raiders. Shout out to the Boom. And of course, also there's going to be a couple more teams with the Los Angeles Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. So bunch of teams off this week, 6 teams that are on the bye week of the 32 NFL franchises, which means 26 will be in action. So make sure you make a note of that. And of course, like I said, if you have any questions, send it over to us with a week where you have Cardinals off, you probably have Marvin Harrison Jr. You might have one of the running backs for Arizona. For Detroit, I'm sure there's a ton of players you're trying to figure out who do I put in the place of Amon-Ra St. Brown, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, maybe Jared Goff, Sam Laporta. And for Jacksonville, you may have Travis Etienne, you may have Bajal Tutin. And, Raiders-wise, you could have a Brock Bowers or a Michael Mayer. And the Rams, Matty Stafford, Kyron Williams. Puka Nakua's been hurt, so you probably don't have him out there. And then with Seattle, you may have Jackson Smith and Jigba, who a lot of people probably wish they had right now. And so if you do have Jackson Smith and Jigba, you're probably doing all right. And so, if you need the help on who you should put in the place of these players, then obviously you can get in touch with me and I can help you with that. So let's go first with Thursday Night Football. This is an interesting game. It's two teams that I feel like you don't typically see these logos next to each other, and that's going to be the Vikings at the Chargers. And we'll start with the Vikings as they are the road team and take a look at their depth chart and what they got going on. So the Minnesota Vikings, and this past week, they went up against the Philadelphia Eagles. I said Carson Wentz has a chance to go up against his old team and did not get the victory against his old team. Carson Wentz, a full participant this past Tuesday. J.J. McCarthy was a limited participant on yesterday. Questionable for the game. So if he's able to go, then obviously, you take a look at J.J. McCarthy. I don't think you should put him out here this week, even if he is able to go. He's been hampered by injury, unfortunately. He's trying to make his way back. I hope that he makes his way back, and it's just been really sad to see, right? Because he was out all last season as a rookie, trying to, have this season be his season, his rookie season in a way. And he came out and he was doing some good things, and, injuries happen, and it's very unfortunate. So hopefully JJ and his ankle will be okay as he works toward getting back here. Now, Jordan Mason, here's the problem with the backfield for Minnesota. Xavier Scott, he has a wrist injury. He was limited. Aaron Jones, he has the hamstring injury, but could return this week. And then Ty Chandler is on injured reserve and could return week 9 with a knee injury. So the only guy not on the injury report, thankfully, Jordan Mason, but the rest of his teammates are. So the backfield, which I haven't really trusted for Minnesota this season with Aaron Jones being hurt, is not something that I'm hoping that you have to lean on here. So as we take a look at Minnesota, first and foremost, and we look at their most recent loss to the Eagles, 28-22, how the team did. Carson Wentz did not throw a touchdown pass. He was 26 of 42, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 313 yards. Jordan Mason did have a rushing touchdown, 15 carries for 57 yards was all he put up in this thing. So not great, but he was able to score. Jordan Addison, 12 targets, 9 catches, 128 yards. Justin Jefferson, 10 targets, 5 catches, 79 yards. So we have seen some good things happen from this team as far as, fantasy value of your wide receivers continue. But overall, Minnesota has not done well in reality. So if I'm going to tell you to play anybody, if Carson Wentz is the guy that goes out there, we know that he has gone after those top 2 targets still, which is good to see. So I would say Justin Jefferson is a 1, Jordan Addison is a 2. As far as the tight end TJ Hawkinson, he was the 3rd in targets with 9. He had 6 catches, 1 more than Justin Jefferson, and he had 43 yards. So I think TJ Hawkinson's worth the play. The good thing about fantasy when it comes to this team is Carson Wentz is going to the guys that you would have anticipated JJ to go to, and it's still working. So I like Justin Jefferson, I like Jordan Addison, I like TJ Hawkinson. On the other side of things for this matchup, when we look at the Los Angeles Chargers, this might be a week where you want to put out Justin Herbert because, obviously, Herbs, he throws a good ball, and he's playing against a Minnesota team that I don't necessarily think is all too dangerous. So I think Justin Herbert could have himself a day in this game. This might be the week that you put him out there, especially with a bunch of teams on bye. And then Kamani Vidal, I want to take a look at Kamani because the backfield for the Chargers has mixed up a little bit here with the fact that there's been injuries that have happened. So when we look at Kamani, the game that they lost just recently to the Colts 38-24 at home, Kamani Vidal had 9 carries for 20 yards, did not score. Hassan Haskins only had 1 carry for 3 yards. My guy, Oronde Gadsden, I'm so happy I drafted him as my backup tight end. Oronde Gadsden, 7 catches, 9 targets, 164 yards to lead the Chargers despite the loss. He had a touchdown. Keenan Allen, 14 targets, 11 catches, 119 yards, and a touchdown. Ladd McConkey, 15 targets, 9 catches, 67 yards. Quentin Johnston had a touchdown, caught 2 of the 6 thrown his way for 30 yards. I think this is a game where you put these guys out there. I like Oronde Gadsden II. I like Keenan Allen. I like Ladd McConkey. Quentin Johnston, hopefully you can flex him out. In a deep league, he might be a wide receiver 2. In a non-deep league, he probably is a 3. I'd prefer him at a 3 for you, but I love the fact that Oronde Gadsden, the rookie out of Syracuse, has found a way to make his hay already in the NFL. Am I surprised? No. Am I outrageously happy and excited? Absolutely. So, shout out to Oronde Gadsden, whose father also played in the NFL, and make sure that, Oronde he potentially already got picked up in your league, but if he didn't get picked up, well, now is your time to go and look like the smart person out there on the waiver wire or in free agency to go and get this gentleman. Put him on your team and put him on your starting lineup for Thursday night football. So love seeing him doing his thing and love seeing him be successful. Really, really awesome. So very excited for what's to come for him for sure. So with that being said, we're going to go to our next game. And if you have a question, like I said, make sure you send the questions over to us. Happy to answer your questions. And we're going to go to the first Sunday game. It's going to be at 1 o'clock, Miami at Atlanta. So if you have a question, shoot it over. And I'm going to go ahead and put a message or make sure that we don't have any that have come into the feed yet. So we're going to do a check here just in case. And let's see what we got here. So if you have a question, make sure you send it over. Miami at Atlanta. So we're going to start with Miami and Atlanta, and a good morning to my mom. I do want to take this time to thank everybody for my amazing birthday. My birthday was yesterday, October 21st. And, I wait all year for it. And then I start, getting excited again. And obviously I love the day. I love my birthday. I got to do a lot of things. I got to do what I love and love what I do. First and foremost, God woke me up. Secondly, I'm healthy. Thirdly, which is beautiful. And I thank God for that. And that can't go understated. Thirdly, I got to do what I love and love what I do. Got to do my show. And then after my show, my parents picked me up and we went and got some lunch. And we talked. We had a good time. I found out that I got a great opportunity yesterday and I took it. I've been saying out loud to God the things that I want to do beyond broadcasting. And that opportunity arose. I can't really talk about it, but it's exciting that one of those opportunities is here, and I'm looking forward to seeing what that'll be. And then I came home, and I watched a movie, and I relaxed with my dog. And I got to spend some birthday time with Lily, my daughter. She will always, always, always be my daughter. And front runner for best daughter baby ever. And so she actually laid in my arms with her hand on my chest, and we watched a movie. And then I got up and I went with my mom. She was taking me to dinner to meet my dad, and we went to an awesome restaurant, which was great and newly renovated, and it's so cool. Looks like a cabin out in the middle of nowhere. And so we went in and we went around the corner, and I saw this long table, and I thought to myself, how the heck did my mom get all these people here? Because I didn't know, how she could even have reached out to them. And so, shout out to obviously my mom, my dad, and Irene, and to James and Josh and Johnny and Aaron and my godson Noah, as well as Amani and Ja, and Big time shout out to Paige, to Isaac, to Jay, who all made it out, and to everybody that was invited and couldn't make it. I know you were there in spirit, and to everybody who I will see and I will celebrate with, to people that are out of town, I just send you all my love. And it was perfect. It was amazing. I wouldn't change a thing about my birthday. And yeah, the gifts that I got were very kind and very sweet. My favorite thing were the cards, were the messages that people gave me, and got me choked up in a good way. And it was an amazing birthday. It was great. I honestly, I wouldn't change a thing about it. And it really called to action me in a lot of ways. And I feel good. I feel myself, and I'm very proud of that. There's some things that, there's these moments in your life where you just have to stop, and you have to let those moments guide you, to know that your people showed up for you, to see you, to be there with you, to smile with you, to celebrate you, and just to see the way that y'all looked at me, and the hugs and the words and the laughter, it goes beyond. And all the messages that I received, and I will respond to all of you individually, I will. And, so thank you. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the support. Not trying to cut into fantasy football today, but I just want to say thank you for being there and for showing me a great birthday. I also want to dedicate today's show to Mel. And, Mel and I spent a lot of time talking about sports and talking about life. Always knew how to get me to laugh and cry in the same conversation, typically. Always pulled at your heartstrings. I absolutely love every hug I ever got from him. Love that he truly treated me like a son. And that he was there to talk. And, when we would talk with each other, he would say, "You're going to make me cry." And, I love those moments. I love that he challenged me. I love his idea. He always had ideas for my show and things I could do in my business and other shows and whatever, like things I could work on. And so his passion and his fire and his creativity and his kindness and his goodness and his overall, his just nature of being a loving, caring person, despite everything that he had been through and all of the adversity. I take with me that a good heart can last through all things. And so with that, I dedicate today's show to Mel. I love you. I know you're in heaven. I'm not concerned about that at all. And, I just ask you to give Grandpa Bill a hug from me. And I ask that you watch over and guide your children and your grandchildren, and that you always stay close to Steve and Roberta, because they're wonderful people. They're probably the ones that got me the most choked up, because I'm sure they're taking this very, very hard. And so to your kids and to your friends, you made your family, Mel, and you were surrounded by very, very loving people, and they just gave and gave and gave and gave, and barely asked for anything ever, if they did. So I just want to say that you lived a full life in my eyes, and I fought for you like a dad, when you were in the hospital and whatnot. And, I just very much hope that you are at peace in heaven, that the perpetual light is shining on you, and that you will shine that light on those you love, on your kids and your grandkids and your friends and your family. So God bless you, Mel, in heaven. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, in Jesus' most precious name. Amen. With that being said, let's go to Miami at Atlanta. Take a look at Miami and Atlanta and these two teams as we start off this Sunday coming up here after Thursday Night Football. So Miami we're going to go to first. Miami, they've had a lot of problems. And so Tua, he's still the starter, but, could we see Quinn Ewers, as my older brother Joey would say, Ewers. And when we say Ewers, it's not a knock on Ewers. It's the EW together that he makes that sound. But Zach Wilson and trying to be the number 2, Quinn Ewers trying to be the number 2. Who's going to be the number 2 guy? And could somebody be the number 1 guy? So, that's a question that could come up here. I mean, the thing was always if Tua's healthy, they got a shot. And now Tua has been out there and they genuinely have not looked good at all. Miami's been struggling fiercely this year, which is unfortunate. And, watching Miami fall to the Browns on the road 31-6, with the Browns team that hasn't been that great and they've been all over the place. But, they allowed 3 touchdowns on the ground to Quinshon Judkins. And, Judkins I covered with the college football playoff run to the national championship. He won a championship with Ohio State, and he was drafted this year, round 2, pick 36 overall. So, Judkins had a good day. He only had 84 yards on the ground, but 25 carries, 3 of those being touchdowns. All good stuff. Harold Fannin Jr. continues to be effective in this offense. 5 targets, 4 catches, 36 yards. Jamari Thrash had 1 catch for 23 yards, targeted twice. Judy, not a lot of yards, 2 catches, 4 targets, 17 yards. Malachi Corley, who was drafted very recently by the Jets, and they already gave up on that. He caught both thrown his way for 17 yards. Jerome Ford, who's still in the backfield, he caught 2 out of the backfield. Quinshon Judkins did not have a pass thrown his way. But on Miami's side, because that's who we're talking about right now, Tua, 12 of 23. Ewers got in. He was 5 of 8. Tua did not throw a touchdown in the game, but he did throw the ball and completed 3 of those to the Browns, and those were for 3 interceptions. Devon Achane had a good day, 13 carries, 82 yards, 6.3 yards a carry. And then, Malik Washington, 8 targets, 5 catches, 30 yards. He was the most involved. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine caught 3. Achane caught 3 of the 5 thrown to him out of the backfield. D. Eskridge caught the 2 that were thrown his way. He's coming from Western Michigan. He was coached by my buddy Tim Lester at the time, so shout out to D. But, Malik Washington, I want to take a look at him for a second here. He's out of Virginia, and obviously I covered Virginia in my coverage of the ACC of over a decade. And 2024, round 6, pick 184, was picked by Miami, so still with Miami, coming out of round 6 on the final day. Now, Tua in the game threw 3 interceptions. He fumbled 3 times, and he recovered the ball a couple times, and I think the other one was recovered by somebody else on the team. So, yeah, see, he had 3 fumbles in the game and 3 interceptions, which is very unfortunate to see. So, I said Quinn Ewers is a better quarterback that people give him credit for when he was in college at Texas. I watched him come back against Arizona State. I don't know many people in the late 4th quarter and in overtime that could throw the passes that he threw, be as comfortable as he was, and throw a touchdown on 4th and 10, but people were knocking Quinn Ewers, and now some people are asking for Quinn Ewers. As far as who you should play in this Miami game, Devon Achane is the only person that I would tell you. So I got John. Why, good morning, my little ray of sunshine. Oh, that's from Johnny. So definitely a good morning to Johnny, and hello back to you, Johnny. So, but yeah, happy to be here with you, and obviously very happy that Johnny and the fam are so supportive and got to spend my birthday with me. I shouted out my godson the cool thing about Johnny is we started as strangers. Then he started listening to my show and supported my show. And I think it's safe to say became like a fan of the show. And then from that built a friendship. So, I mean, to have somebody who listened and supported and watched, and then, obviously we became friends and now we're brothers. And, I get to be now I'm the uncle to all four of his kids, plus Remy, his fifth kid. And so all five of the kids. And of course, to have the opportunity to be a godfather as well. And it all started with him supporting the show. So, life has created so many great blessings for me from God, and I'm thankful for every single one of them. Devon Achane's the only guy that I would play in this game for Miami. I don't trust anybody else right now. I really don't. I mean, Jalen Waddle, 1 catch, 4 targets, and it's against Cleveland, right? I mean, I'm not saying Cleveland's awful, but Cleveland is an enigma at best, right? They lost 17-16 to the Bengals to start the year. They lost 41-17 in a blowout at the Ravens. They lost to the Packers 13-10. They lost to the Lions in a blowout on the road 34-10. They lost to the Vikings 21-17. Or pardon me, they beat the Packers 13-10 if I didn't say they won that game. They won that game. They lost to the Vikings 21-17. They lost at the Steelers 23-9, and they just beat the Dolphins 31-6. So, I mean, they've been all over the place. Now, they played a close game with the Bengals. They played a close game with the Packers that they won. They played a close game with the Vikings that they lost. So they've had 2 close losses, and they've had games where they've been able to hold teams. They held the Packers to 10. They lost to the Bengals but held them under 20. They held the Vikings to right around 20 at 21. So it's not that the defense is atrocious, but, you're playing a Vikings team that didn't have J.J. McCarthy, so that's something to note. And then the Bengals at that time still had Joe Burrow, so there's something to be said about that. He was 14 of 23, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, 113 yards in that game where the Bengals beat the Browns 17-16. So it's not saying that the defense is awful, but Miami's just looked terrible. And so, I mean, if I'm going to tell you who to play for Miami, I mean, Jalen Waddle is a guy that you want to believe, but he's been underwhelming. So Devon Achane's the only one I feel comfortable with. If you're in a deep league and you need 3 receivers, can you make your third one Jalen Waddle? Maybe. But I don't feel great about it. Now, speaking of an enigma, Atlanta's been all over the place. Atlanta's had really good games where they beat the Bills, and then they've had really terrible games where you're looking at Atlanta scratching your head like, where the hell did the offense go when they got shut out by the Carolina Panthers? So they have been they've been a team where you really do question. They went on the road to San Fran and they lost 20-10 in Sunday Night Football. Michael Penix Jr., 21 of 38, 241, a touchdown, no interceptions. Beige had 14 carries for 40 yards. Mooney had 5 targets, 3 catches, 68 yards. Kyle Pitts Sr., 10 targets, 7 catches, 62 yards. Shout out to him. Bijan, 8 targets out of the backfield, caught 6, 52, and a touchdown. Drake London, 10 thrown his way, caught 4, 42 yards. And Tyler Algier, no passes to him. He had 4 carries for 16 yards. 4 yards a carry, not bad, but, they have been not utilizing him as much. Now, Kirk Cousins might be in this game because Michael Penix has a lower leg injury. Now, the good thing is they're playing Miami. Now, the Smitty said, who can I trade Nico for what wide receivers? I guess you're saying Nico Collins. You got to tell me, well, first and foremost, so Smitty, I can't really answer that question because you say, who should you trade him for? And there's a bunch of wide receivers that are great, but it's who's willing to trade. So do you have any trade? Because, I could tell you trade him for Jackson Smith and Jigba, but the person's probably not going to do that. So I would say, do you have any trade offers and who's available, Smitty? Who's available in free agency? So let's see if I can help you in that respect as you're looking to potentially get rid of Nico Collins from what I'm reading here. Now, I would tell you to play Bijan Robinson in this game, whoever the quarterback is. Tyler Algier has been kind of a non-factor. So I'm going to tell you, play Bijan Robinson, play Kyle Pitts Sr. I would look at playing Drake London. I'm going to call him a wide receiver too, since we're not 100% sure on who the quarterback's going to be. And, outside of that, I would say, Algier, I'd probably leave him off this week. Just because how much is he really getting utilized? But they're playing the Dolphins, and the Dolphins stink. So, maybe Atlanta can have a good offensive day in this one. They've seemingly had good offensive days, but they don't happen every week. We're going to go to Chicago and Baltimore after this fast break, so we'll circle it here in the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub. Head to the Wildcat to watch all the games. 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. Go and see them today. Let them know the DT sent you. You can order takeout and delivery by calling the Wildcat at 315-487-2222. That's 315-487-2222. We'll be back inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios with fantasy football coverage on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora right after this. And now a message from Myers Creek Brewing Company, with locations at their Cazenovia Farm Brewery, Syracuse Inner Harbor Tap Room, and soon-to-be Lake Placid Tap Room.
Well, I think first and foremost, the Feldmeyer family and our team are extremely passionate about what we do. We care very much about what we do. The Feldmeyer family is always investing. Our taproom management team, our brew management team, our marketing management team, and all of the team members that get after it every day, they leave it on the field. They put their heart and soul into it. I know for a fact that everyone that works at Myers Creek wants to be there, and we want them to be there. We want them to feel good about their job. And again, if you've never been to a Myers Creek, especially to the brewery, I want your eyes to open really big. I want you to see how big of a brand this is. I want you to see where we're going. The sky is the limit, and I feel very proud of that, and I'm very excited about that. When you think of designing a menu for a brewery, it's kind of open to a lot of different interpretations. You can do American, you can do Asian, you can do Italian, and you just have to find, how that meets that pub style dining experience, that gastropub vibe. And I think it's super fun for us because obviously we know that, everyone in the world's going to sell a pizza or a burger or a French fry, but what can we do to be different? And what can we do to be true to who we are? We are a brewery, a brew pub. So the flavor profiles are kind of all over the place. And I think it's super cool that we have a massive smoker at the brewery in Cazenovia, and we smoke a lot of our products. They're delicious smoked turkey. We have barbecue ribs on Sundays. From a pulled pork sandwich to a chicken wing, you go to the Inner Harbor and you go to the Kaz location and you'll find similarities in the menu, but also things that are a little different and also kind of fit those different demographics or different communities, and also hopefully just drive you to try every tap room that we have open at some point, because you get a little something different at each one. We understand how hard it is to, work every day and get after it every day, and when you're done at the end of your day, you want to go out and put your feet up in a good ambiance and good environment. So we take pride in that. We make sure that everyone knows that they're very much valued to us.
This is Jim Dispenza, owner of Game Point Sports Complex. You hear the same story across any sport that kids play and any sport that adults play. There's never enough places to play. That was definitely true with volleyball, definitely true with basketball. It could be cheerleading, it could be field hockey, which is what we're seeing now. Every sport has a lack of places to play, and I think Syracuse in particular is a place where it's really bad. Despite the fact that we've got a lot of athletic talent around here, we just seem to have not enough places for people to play, and they're going to different places. They're going to Rochester, they're going to, Buffalo. They're going all different places because we don't have a place here, and I felt like that should change. This was a long project from planning all the way through execution to opening doors. A lot of work went into it, obviously, a lot of money, a lot of resources, and the dream always was kids being in the gym, having a good time. And I've always felt like sports is the most unfiltered joy that you can observe with people, that people can experience, because it is fun, it is a sense of accomplishment, it's all of that wrapped into one thing. And so watching kids going up and down the court with big smiles on their faces has been just amazing experience. I'm looking forward to years to come of that same thing. We've taken the time to invest in multiple sports, and then what we're finding is the mere fact that we have a large, clean, well-lit space has opened a lot more doors for us beyond basketball, volleyball, pickleball. Now we're having some interest from cheerleading. We've got girls field hockey coming in, and then also there's quite a bit of room for spectators. We've got bleachers, we've got benches, we've got a concession lounge where people can get food and drinks. We're going to have multiple sports going at the same time, using every square inch of this place for what it was conceived for, which is basically people to come in, have a good time in the sport that they prefer. We manage each situation differently. Everybody has different ability to afford different things. Some are bringing 10, 15 people, some are just 2 people. I've had a lot of situations where it's a father shooting around with his son, it's a mother playing pickleball with her daughter or with her son, and in those situations come up and we work with people, and that's allowed us to have groups from 2 people up to 30 people and have some flexible pricing behind it. We're an organization that is here to work with the community any way we can, and I guess part of it is just making sure that we have the flexibility to put together a plan that makes sense regardless of the size of your group. So in order to book time, the best option is to go to our website, gamepointsports-syr.com. You can click from there and sign up for events, sign up for your own particular training, sign up for birthday parties, all of that.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here with us, hanging out where sports meets life, and I implore you to get in touch with Game Point Sports Complex today, 211 South Center Street in East Syracuse. You could book your time by going to gamepointsports-syr.com, so make sure that you do that here today. We do have a question that came in here inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. This is Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and you are here with the Fantasy Football Power Hour, not one of, not a, but the Fantasy Football Power Hour, and we are here for NFL Week 8 of the 2025-26 season, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub. We got a question that came in from 4KT Owen, said Flex Pittman or Chase Brown. And thank you, 4KT. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell if you haven't already. So make sure to subscribe. And for everybody that's on, if you haven't already, hit that notification bell. I know so many of you have, and appreciate you so very much. And thank you for tuning into the broadcast here on Wake Up Call and to all of our broadcasts Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So 4KT said Flex Pittman or Chase Brown. I'm going to say Pittman, man. Now, Chase Brown is a guy that people... Now, I'm going to take a deeper look. My knee-jerk reaction is to tell you Pittman. Now, Chase Brown's a guy that people wanted to give up on, right? The Bengals just had a great game against the Steelers, 33-31. What a game by Joe Flacco. Chase Brown, with that Joe Flacco in the offense, changes things up, man. Had 4 targets in the passing game, caught 2, but had -8 yards. But in PPR, he did have 2 catches. And then 11 carries, 108 yards, 9.8 yards a carry. So Flacco getting the ball out definitely helped out the rushing attack, as Flacco threw the ball 47 times in the game, was 31 of 47. So I do like Chase, but you said, should you flex him out? So, and there's people that wanted to throw Chase Brown in the garbage last year. There's people that wanted to throw him out over these last few weeks or maybe early on this season. Now, the Indianapolis Colts, in their win over the Chargers on the road, 38-24, Michael Pittman, take a look at his numbers. He had 7 catches, 9 targets, 58 yards, and a touchdown. So who should you play for KT? That's a good question. I'm going to take a look at this. So the Bengals are playing the Jets, okay, and the Colts are playing Tennessee. So they're both playing terrible teams. So, I mean, and they're both at home. So let me ask you this, 4KT. Are you in a PPR league? So send that over to me. Let me know. Now, Clifford said, Zay Flowers or Roma Dunze for the rest of the season, full PPR. So, see, the rest of the season thing is hard because what if somebody gets injured? So, Clifford, thanks for being with us. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. For KT, make sure you send over to me if you are in a PPR league or not, because that'll help me make my decision. Because my knee-jerk reaction was to say Pittman, but then Chase Brown maybe opens things up a little bit more with the fact that, I should say Joe Flacco maybe opens him up a little bit more, speaking of Chase Brown. Now, Clifford said Zay Flowers or Roma Dunze for the rest of the season. Rome. Because Baltimore's been all over the place, and Baltimore struggled with and without Lamar Jackson. So, Clifford, if I had to choose, I would go with Roma Dunze. Now, Smitty said waiver wire, Calvin Ridley, Chris Godwin, Darnell Mooney, Keyshawn Boots. So, and you want to get rid of Nico? So I just addressed a question here. Before we get to the next game, which is going to be Chicago at Baltimore, I'm going to go back to Smitty's question. He wants to get rid of Nico Collins. But I'm going to just take a look for a second at Nico. Now, they lost to the Seahawks on the late Monday Night Football game, 27-19. Stroud was 23 of 49, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and Nico had 10 targets, 4 catches, 27 yards. I mean, he's still getting a bunch of targets, man. So, I mean, Smitty, I don't know if I'd get rid of him. I wouldn't do it for Mooney. Godwin, yeah, but he's got to be healthy. Ridley, no. And then Keyshawn Boots, that's the only one that, I mean, that was the one that kind of piqued my interest for a second here. And that's because he's in the offense with the Patriots, or Keyshawn Boot, pardon me. So he had 2 targets, 2 catches, 55 yards, and a touchdown. If I want to take a look at how his game log has been. So for Keyshawn, 2023 round 6, pick 187 by New England out of LSU. So his games are 103 yards wise, 103, 16, 26, 18, 43, 93 with 2 touchdowns, 55 with a touchdown recently here. Had a touchdown against Miami when he only had 16 yards. Started off the season with a 100-yard game. So I like Keyshawn Boot, but I don't know if I'd be getting rid of Nico Collins, because he's arguably still the main target in Houston. So, you know, it's not that, I mean, yeah, Houston has struggled, but they're still getting the ball out. I mean, Dalton Schultz got involved. Dalton caught 9, Dalton Schultz caught 9, Noel caught 4, Nico caught 4. And I want to look at Nico's game log. So Nico he had 25 yards, then 52 and a touchdown, then 104 and a touchdown, 79, 52 and a touchdown, 27. I mean, honestly, Smitty, I would say Nico, then Keyshawn Boot. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, though I think Nico's still maybe a hair or 2 above Keyshawn Boot. Would I trade Nico for Chris Olave in a straight-up deal, 1 for 1? I mean, Chris Olave, we'll take a look at Chris Olave's numbers, because New Orleans has been awful in reality, not really winning much of anything. But Chris Olave, his numbers, 54, 54, 57, 20 and a touchdown, 59, 98, 98 with 2 touchdowns. So he has gotten involved more. I mean, yeah, I would say Olave over Nico at the moment. But here's the thing. I still think Nico can have a good season. But, I mean, if it's between Olave and Nico Collins, I would do the trade. If it was just straight up, 1 for 1, then I would do that trade. So, did I get any other questions that came in here? Clifford, I answered yours. Make sure to subscribe. So, I'd go with Roma Dunze over Zay Flowers if you had to pick one for the rest of the season, which is funny because now we're talking about Chicago at Baltimore, which is Roma Dunze against Zay Flowers. So shall we go to Roma Dunze and the Chicago Bears first since they're the road team? Like I told you, going into the season, I thought that we would see the opposite of a sophomore slump from Caleb Williams. I thought he'd have an uptick, and he has. I feel like other people have made mention of that. And so, I mean, Caleb Williams to me is having the opposite of a sophomore slump. And so Chicago right now is 4-2, right? They're heading toward the opportunity at the postseason, which is huge. And so if we go and we look at Chicago's last outing, a win over the Saints that we were just talking about, 26-14. I mean, the Saints are a bad team. They're 1-6. 0-3 on the road there. And Caleb he was 15-26, 172, no touchdowns and an interception. They ran the ball well. DeAndre Swift, 19 carries, 124 yards, touchdown, 6.5 yards a carry. Kyle Menengai had 13 carries, 81 yards and a touchdown, 6.2 yards a carry. Rashawn Johnson had 1 carry for 11 yards. And then, some other guys got involved as well. DJ Moore, 5 targets, 3 catches, 43 yards. Rome, 6 targets, 2 catches, 31. And Colston Loveland, the rookie tight end, 4 targets, 3 catches, 24 yards. Cole Kmet not getting involved as much. So, I mean, for Chicago at Baltimore, if we take a look at the Baltimore Ravens, I mean, unfortunately, Baltimore has not had the season that a lot of their fans were hoping that they would. They're 1-5. They've struggled with Lamar. They've struggled without Lamar. And they lost to the Rams most recently, 17-3 at home. Only scored 3 points with Cooper Rush, and Tyler Huntley's back. So I don't know why they got rid of Huntley, because Huntley seems to be more like Lamar Jackson, right? To do different things, be able to move with his feet and throw the ball, where Cooper Rush, pocket guy. And we know that Lamar Jackson can do both. He's a dual threat guy. He's done it extremely well at times. And, Tyler Huntley almost won them the playoff game against the Miami Dolphins a few years back. So, Baltimore, Zay Flowers is still getting the ball. I mean, he definitely is. So, in this matchup, I'm going to say DeAndre Swift is worth the play. Roma Dunze is worth the play. I would say DJ Moore, I'm going to put him as a wide receiver 2. Hopefully he could be a 3 for you and not a 2. Colston Loveland, I do like him in this game. I'll call him a tight end 1. I like him in this game against Baltimore just because Baltimore's defense hasn't been great. And then as far as the Baltimore Ravens, we have Lamar Jackson here, who is questionable with his hamstring. Problem with the hamstring is that can nag them for a while. Hamstring and groin, those are the things that just they seem to affect you. So, Derrick Henry, I think Derrick Henry's definitely worth the play. I would play Zay Flowers because he's been doing good with getting the ball. 10 targets, 6 catches, 46 yards. So he has done some good things. And then as far as the tight end goes, this is the tough thing because Mark Andrews hasn't had great numbers. 6 targets, 4 catches, 24 yards, likely 2 targets, 2 catches, and 6 yards in the game. So, I would say your best bet with Baltimore, Zay Flowers and Derrick Henry. And then with Chicago, DeAndre Swift, Roma Dunze, and probably Colston Loveland. I'm not calling him the highest of the high. It's hard. He's a tight end 1 to me. I think Colston Loveland, I think he's going to have a good game. So I'll leave it at that. We're going to go to the next one that we have here, which is Buffalo at Carolina. Man, Buffalo's been confusing this year, have they not? Baltimore has had not great showings. Houston's had not great showings. Buffalo's had not great showings. Kansas City's had not great showings. Could it be the time for somebody else to step it up? Could it be the Colts? Could the Jaguars figure things out and find their way up the mountain? Or could it be the Broncos? Or even the Chargers this year? I'm excited to see what this AFC can be, and if the teams that you weren't expecting at the beginning of the season can be some of those teams that are pushing all the way through the season, toward the end of the season, that it's not a fluke and that they're putting themselves in good footing for the playoffs. Atlanta beat Buffalo at home, so the Bills on the road lost 24-14 in the game. Josh Allen, 15-26. Not great numbers, not typical of him. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 180 yards. James Cook, 17 carries for 87 yards, 5.1 yards a carry. Josh Palmer led the way on 2 catches for 60 yards on the 2 targets he had. Shakir caught 3 of the 5 thrown his way for 33. Dawson Knox had 1 catch on 2 targets, but it was for a touchdown. Ray Davis out of the backfield, 2 targets, 2 catches, 1 being a touchdown. Tyrell Shavers, 3 catches on 5 targets for 27 yards, and we didn't have Dalton Kincaid. Keon Coleman, non-factor for the most part. 3 catches, 6 targets, 11 yards. Tyrell Shavers is in his first season out of San Diego State at wide receiver number 14, so he's gotten himself involved in this offense for the Buffalo Bills that's been all over the place. And Buffalo, like I said, like some of these other teams in Baltimore, they're 4-2, but they've looked really strange this year. Dalton Kincaid's questionable with an oblique injury. God willing, him and everybody else that's injured by the grace of God will heal up and be well and stay well, including anybody watching and listening that's hurting in some way, shape, or form. My prayers to you in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. In Jesus' most precious name, we're always going to pray the best for everybody out there, for you and I and everyone. So God bless to everybody. Now, they're playing Carolina, which shut out Atlanta. And so think about it like this. Carolina shut out Atlanta 30-0. Atlanta beat Buffalo by 10. So what does that say about Buffalo? Hopefully, it's a wake-up call, pun fully intended. Josh Allen, I want to believe that you should put him out there in this game. James Cook, Dawson Knox, I'll call him a mid to low tight end 1 because Kincaid's injured, which hopefully Kincaid will be okay. But it's Dawson's time to shine. And then Keon Coleman and Khalil Shakir, I'm going to call them both wide receiver 3s. I don't trust either one of them to be out there in the game for you. And remember that Dawson Knox was the guy before they drafted Kincaid. Now, Bryce Young, he's doubtful for the game with an ankle injury, which is tough here, which means Andy Dalton might go out. But again, Buffalo's had some bad games, including this past week against Atlanta. Andy Dalton's the type of guy that's been a starter for a long time and been in different places and obviously spent a ton of time in Cincinnati before Joe Burrow got there. They probably wish they had Andy Dalton right now with Joe Burrow out, but, Joe Flacco's doing a great job. And seeing the way that things have been going here with Carolina, they've had some good moments, right? They're 4-3 on the season. They got as many wins as the Bills have. And Andy Dalton, this is the type of game where he steps in and throws 4 touchdown passes. It goes buck wild. So we'll see what happens. Rico Dowdle, he's had some good moments too. He had a fantastic, probably the game of his NFL career against his old team. And I tell you that all the time. When a player is playing their old team, you have to look out for that because they're either going to disappear or they're going to have one of those, massive games that reminds the team that let them go that maybe they shouldn't have done that. So Carolina won an ugly game against the only team that hasn't won a game this past week, and that being the Jets are 0-7. Carolina's 4-3, and Andy Dalton did come in 4 for 7, 60 yards after Bryce was 15-25 for a touchdown, no interceptions. Rico Dowdle, 17 carries, 79 yards, 4.6 yards a carry. Chuba, 14 carries, 31 yards, 2.2 yards a carry. Xavier Legette, who I had to bring somebody on my team and I let him go last week, of course, 11 targets, 9 catches, 92 yards, and a touchdown. Of course, the week I let him go, and I'm like, what's Legette been doing? So, I need to go grab him back if somebody already hasn't picked him up. Tataroa, 5 targets, 3 catches, 33 yards. Chuba caught 2 out of the backfield from the 3 thrown his way, and from the 2 thrown to Rico Dowdle out of the backfield, he caught 1 of those. So, for Carolina, I would say if we look at Buffalo by the numbers here, Buffalo's defense hasn't been great at all. Buffalo only held the Jets under 20 points. They gave up 40 to the Ravens, 21 to the Dolphins. Oh, no, they held the Saints under 20 at 19. And then they gave up 23 in that win to the Saints. They gave up 19. Then they gave up 23 in a loss to the Patriots and gave up 24 on the road to the Falcons. So they're typically giving up 20 or more points. So I would probably say Rico Dowdle, you could put him out there as a running back too. I'd call Chuba a 3. I like Tataroa, McMillan, and Xavier to Legette to quit. So I do like him. Of course, he had a career day when I let the man go. So sad face over here. Let's go to the Jets at the Bengals. So I do like, Carolina, and they're at home. But again, it's what Buffalo team is going to show up and what Carolina team is going to show up, which is a little bit of a toss-up, but there is some value there. And I think, Andy Dalton is a more than serviceable quarterback if he ends up playing to go out there and do some good things. And like I said, with the way that Buffalo's been in the games that people expected them to win and the way that Andy Dalton can be to remind people that he still got it, this could be a dangerous game for Buffalo. Or Buffalo could come out and put a 40 on them and show that they're still the Buffalo Bills. So it's kind of an up-in-the-air thing, but I like there is fantasy value on both sides here. I think there's a little bit more fantasy value because Rico's been playing well and Chuba still gets involved. Tataroa McMillan's had himself a good rookie season, and Xavier Legette, we'll have to see if this was a one-hit wonder this past week or if he's going to get it done consistently is going to be the big question mark right now. So, that's something that we have to look at. Let's go to the Jets at the Bengals. But Xavier Legette, I'll call him a wide receiver too. It's just what Buffalo defense is going to show up. And like I said, most of the time they're giving up at least 20 points. So, that's something to look to. Carolina's had some good games. We'll go to the next matchup, which is going to give us the Jets at the Bengals. The Jets, like I said, are winless. And the Bengals are not that great before Joe Flacco came in. But now they got Joe Flacco. So I think that the Jets are going to be 0-8. Let's go to the Jets first. And who would I tell you to play for those New York football Jets who have not played well at all? Lost to the Steelers 34-32. Then they lost to the Bills 30-10. Those games were at home. Lost at the Bucks 29-27. Lost to the Dolphins 27-21. Lost to the Cowboys 37-22. Lost to the Broncos 13-11. Lost to the Panthers 13-6. So they were scoring more earlier on in the season, and that's kind of tapered off. Well, they scored more against the Steelers and against the Bucks. They've had some close games, right? The Steelers game was 1 possession. The Bucks game was 1 possession. The Dolphins game was 1 possession. And the Broncos and the Panthers were 1 possession. But they just haven't been able to turn it on offensively, and they haven't been able to stop defensively. So the Jets most recently in that loss to the Panthers at home at MetLife in East Rutherford, New Jersey, Tyrod Taylor came in, 10 of 22. They benched Justin Fields, who was 6 of 12 for 46 yards at the time. What did Tyrod Taylor do? He came in and threw 2 interceptions. So not looking good for the Jets at all, and how the quarterback situation looks right now. If Tyrod Taylor takes over as the starter, again, he came in and threw 2 interceptions. So where do the fantasy points lie? Well, if you look at Breece Hall, 11 carries, 38 yards, 3.5 yards a carry. Tyler Johnson, he had 3 catches, 3 targets, 60 yards. Mason Taylor, their rookie tight end, 5 targets, 3 catches, 31 yards. Jason Taylor, the former defensive lineman for the Dolphins, that is his son, God bless. And then Isaiah Davis caught 2 of the 4 thrown to him out of the backfield for 22 yards. Alan Lazard caught 2 of the 3 thrown his way for 16. Brees caught 2 of the 3 thrown his way out of the backfield for 14 yards. If I had to tell you who to put in this game, it would be Brees Hall. In a very deep league, you would flex out Isaiah Davis. Mason Taylor, you could look at putting out because he has gotten involved in the offense. I mean, Garrett Wilson is hurt, questionable with a knee injury. Is he questionable, or is Garrett like, you know what? I'm gonna go sit this one out. I'm gonna wait a few weeks here. I'm gonna try and get myself traded. I mean, I don't know. That's just me joking around. It's not anything that Garrett's been saying that I've heard. So, Brees Hall, I would say Brees is your best bet, then Mason Taylor, then Isaiah Davis. On the other side for Cincinnati, I mean, they're playing the Jets. I like Joe Flacco in this game. This might be the game you play Joe Flacco. I like Jamar Chase. I like T. Higgins. I like Chase Brown, all in this matchup because the Bengals move the ball well against a Steelers team that I think still has an opportunity at the playoffs. And the Bengals, they found new life. They're 3-4. I think they're about to be 4-4. And yeah, I like what the Bengals have with this matchup against the Jets. We're going to go to San Francisco at Houston right after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You are inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub, 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus. Go and see them 7 days a week. Go watch the games there. The food is fantastic. They have their Wildcat sauce that they'll put on the boneless and bone-in wings. That sauce is absolutely just so good. And, of course, they have the best fried dough in central and upstate New York. Dip it in some chocolate sauce, some caramel. So good. Or bring it home, get some raspberry sauce. That'll mix it up. And, of course, we thank them for their takeout and delivery, which you can get by calling 315-487-2222. That's 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat. We look forward to seeing you out there. And, of course, the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Make sure you head to Great Lakes Honda City if you're looking for a vehicle of different shapes and sizes for different needs for you and your family. The place to buy and lease from, in my opinion, because I've been there for over a decade and I put my money where my mouth is. Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. You can get a sneak peek by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. We'll be back right after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Next game up, San Fran at Houston.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, We are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're gonna be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst. You just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever gonna have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McInerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Bryan and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Bryan and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So K9 Camp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. K9 Camp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that K9 Camp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making K9 Camp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry loving friend. Right, Lily?
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We are here with you inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, and of course inside the Fantasy Football Power Hour. Not one of, not a, but the Fantasy Football Power Hour, NFL Week 8 of the 2025-26 season. If you have a question, send it over to us. Always happy to answer your questions here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. The Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub, 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. And of course, the Great Lakes Honda City Studios is where we're at. So make sure you check them out at greatlakeshondacity.com. San Francisco at Houston. Let's do this game. And the San Francisco 49ers have been having themselves a great season under Mac Attack Jones, And so they are 5-2. They're 3-0 in their division of the NFC West. Shout out to them for that. So they've been doing one heck of a job in San Fran. And Houston, well, Houston's had a problem. So they've had the other side of things. They're 2-4. And so San Francisco 5-2, Houston 2-4. The San Francisco 49ers just got that victory over the Falcons, and the Niners had Mac Jones at quarterback. Mac Attack has had himself a good run here. With him leading the offense, this team has played very well. Now, Mac Jones was a guy who came out of Alabama and was under Nick Saban. He was part of, at one point, a quarterback room at Alabama with the Crimson Tide that had Mac Jones, it had Jalen Hurts, and Tua Tagovailoa. So, you know, that was a crazy room because you got 3 starting quarterbacks there in the NFL. Well, it didn't work out with Mac Jones in New England. And then he was the backup with Jacksonville, who obviously has Trevor Lawrence. Well, Mac Jones saw an opportunity with San Fran. He took it. He's already thrown for over 1,400 yards this season, 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. And in his games that he's been in this season, we look at the New Orleans. He's 4-1. He's 4-1, which is an argument that I've been making over and over and over again this season, that even if Brock is healthy, they should play Mac Jones until it doesn't work. Now, Brock is questionable with a toe injury. In my opinion, you continue to play Mac Jones because Mac Jones has continued to win. He's 4-1. And in the game that they lost, it was to Tampa on the road at Tampa, 30-19. But he won 26-21 at New Orleans, 16-15 against Arizona, 26-23 in overtime at the Rams, and 20-10 recently at home against Atlanta. That 4-1 record that he has with the only loss to Tampa, I mean, they've gutted it out. He's led this offense. I think he's done a good job with it. So, I mean, would I necessarily play him as my fantasy quarterback? No. But in reality, he's leading an offense that's moving the ball. So don't knock Mac. You know, give Mac a chance. And I think that they should keep Mac as their quarterback right now. Christian McCaffrey's continued to be Christian McCaffrey with Mac at quarterback. 24 carries, 129 yards, 5.4 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns. Out of the backfield, 8 targets, led the team. 7 catches, led the team. 72 yards, led the team. So Christian McCaffrey's arguably even a better version of himself with Mac Attack out there. Had over 200 all-purpose yards in the game. Juwan Jennings, 7 targets, 4 catches, 31 yards, and then, 31 yards there. And so I would say for San Fran, I would play Christian McCaffrey. I would play Juwan Jennings. In a deep league, I would play him as a 2. And maybe you could play him as a 3 in a league that's not as deep. But I like Christian McCaffrey. I like Juwan Jennings. George Kittle's back. Luke Farrell's done some good things because him and Mac are both in Jacksonville together. Kendrick Bourne's gotten himself involved. So I want to look at how Bourne had 2 catches, 2 targets, 14 yards. Sky Moore, 1 target, 1 catch. So, I think your best bet for San Fran is Christian McCaffrey and Juwan Jennings after that. If you want to put out Kendrick Bourne, I would look to him. And then George Kittle or Luke Farrell, they're both getting involved. Hard to pick one for fantasy right now. On Houston's side of things, people are starting to give up on Houston, and the team is 2-4. C.J. Stroud, 23 of 49 in the loss at Seattle on Monday Night Football. 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 229 yards. C.J. led the backfield, 2 carries for 25 yards. Chubb, 5 for 16. Woody Marks, 10 for 15, which is 1.5 yards a carry. But Dalton Schultz, he had a good day. 10 targets, 9 catches, 98 yards. Jalen Noel, 7 targets, 4 catches, 77 yards. He's the rookie wide receiver out of Iowa State, picked this year in round 3, 79, to the Houston Texans. And then Nico Collins, who I brought up before, he was involved here. 4 catches, 10 targets, 27 yards. So CJ's still trying to get him the ball. So, I mean, who would I play in this game against San Fran? I'd probably play San Fran's defense and special teams, to be honest, as well. And then Nico Collins is on the injury report. He's got a concussion, so he's questionable. Kirk has a hamstring. He's questionable. So, God be with them, and hopefully they'll be okay. If you're going to play anybody from Houston, it would be Dalton Schultz to me, and then Jalen Noel in a really deep league. If you got to stretch here and go running back, a wide receiver 3 or a wide receiver 4, maybe Jalen Noel. I think this game's going to be a whole lot of San Francisco and a whole lot of CMC, but I do like Dalton Schultz, maybe a little bit of Jalen Noel. Cleveland at New England. New England's been playing well. Cleveland hasn't been great. However, they haven't been terrible at times. So, I mean, they've been better than terrible at times, but they're 2-5 right now. And like I said, they just beat the Dolphins. And what does that say about where the Dolphins are at? So we're going to go to the away team first in this matchup for Cleveland at New England. We'll go to Cleveland first. I mean, I would say Quinshon Judkins. Jerry Jeudy's been underwhelming. Harold Fannon's been good. And him and David Njoku are both getting involved at the tight end position. But Njoku has a knee injury, which has left him questionable. I mean, Harold Fannon can handle this. I like Harold Fannon. I like Quinshon Judkins and Harold Fannon Jr. in this matchup against New England. But I also really like New England. I like what they're doing. I said Mike Vrabel should have been the head coach last year. They made him the head coach this year, and now they're 5-2. I thought Drake May would maybe have a better season. He's had a better season. So if we look at New England by the numbers most recently here, the New England Patriots are on a 4-game winning streak. They've won 5 of their last 6 games. They were 1-2 to start the season, 4-0 since. And like I said, the winners of 5 of their last 6. The only game they lost in that was to the Steelers, 21-14. They started the season losing to the Raiders by 1 possession, 20-13 at home. Then they beat the Dolphins on the road, 33-27. Speaking of New England, they lost to the Steelers by 1 possession, 21-14 at home. Then they beat the Panthers at home, 42-13. Beat the Bills on the road, 23-20. Beat the Saints on the road, 25-19, and recently beat the Titans on the road, 31-13. So they've had themselves a good season, and now they're playing a not so great team. So I think that this is a game to start Drake May. He went 21 of 23 in the win over the Titans, who, I don't trust their defense at all. He had 222 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ramondre Stevenson, 18 carries, 88 yards, 4.9 yards a carry and a touchdown. Drake May, 8 carries for 62 yards, 7.8 yards a carry. Travion, 2 carries for 5 yards, so he was quiet in the game. Stephon Diggs, 7 targets, 7 catches, 69 yards. Keyshawn Boot, 2 targets, 2 catches, and a touchdown. Drake seems to like him. And then Hunter Henry, 4 catches on 5 targets, 33 yards. Matt Collins, 2 catches, 2 targets for 49 yards. And Austin Hooper, 2 targets, 2 catches, one of those being a touchdown, and 11 yards on the day. So I like Drake May in the game. I like Ramondre Stevenson in the game. Travion Henderson I'd probably keep off unless I could play 3 or 4 running backs. Then maybe he's my 3rd or 4th running back. I like Stephon Diggs in the game, and I like Keyshawn Boot in the game as well because they're playing Cleveland, and they've been able to move the ball and get the ball out to a bunch of different people. So I think New England is trending upward with their fantasy value and in reality as well. If you have a question, make sure to send it over. We got the Giants at the Eagles, and this Giants-Eagles game is an NFC East matchup. The Giants are coming off of a game where they gave up a heck of a lot to the Denver Broncos here, as the Denver Broncos found their way all the way back in that matchup. Jackson Dart has done some good things, and I do like seeing what the rookie quarterback is doing. The second-year quarterback, Bo Nix, he's done some good things as well, and Denver's defense is a pain in the tush. I will tell you that much. So, in that New York Giants-Denver game, before we get into this game against Philadelphia, I got to show some love to what the Broncos were able to do. I mean, we go back and look at this. The Broncos at one point were down 19-0. Then it was 19-8. Then the Giants made it 26-8. And then the Giants, after it was 26-8, let's see here. So they gave up 8. Seeing how many points they gave up here. So after it was 26-8, they gave up 22 unanswered points before they scored again. And then the Broncos responded. So they gave up 22 unanswered points, and they ended the game by giving up 25 points to 6. So they were up 19-0. The game ended with them giving up 25 points to scoring 6, and at one point 22 unanswered points to get a victory here. I mean, if we look at it by quarter, at halftime, the Giants were up 13-0, and after 3 quarters, the Giants were up 19-0, and then got outscored in the fourth quarter 33-13. All 33 points of the Broncos were scored in the fourth quarter of the game, showing that they can be a very what I believe, a very dangerous playoff team, late in the game and never out of these games. So that's just something to look to when you're looking at the Broncos. But speaking of this Giants at Eagles game, the Giants at the Philadelphia Eagles, we'll start with the Giants here and what they did do in that game against the Denver Broncos despite the loss. And that would be that Jackson Dart went 15 of 33, so he was less than 50% completion percentage. 3 touchdowns, though, to 1 interception. Cam Scatterbo, he's doing a good job. I told you I thought the rookie would end up being the starting running back. He is. 16 carries, 60 yards, 3.6 yards a carry. Tyrone Tracy did get involved, though. 9 carries, 46 yards, 5.1 yards a carry, and a touchdown. Wendell Robinson, I said, hey, with Malik Neighbors out and Jackson Dart coming in, look to Wendell Robinson. He was targeted the most with 12. He caught the most with 6. He had the most yards with 95. And then Daniel Bellinger, the tight end, 4 targets, 3 catches, 88 yards, a touchdown. Theo Johnson, another tight end on the team, 7 targets, 3 catches, and a touchdown. Scatterbo had 3 catches out of the backfield on 6 targets, one of those being a touchdown. So Scatterbo doing a great job getting involved here. I mean, if I'm going to tell you who to play on the Giants, this might be the week, even though they're going to Philadelphia, this might be the week that you play Jackson Dart, because maybe you have Jared Goff, or maybe you have Kyler Murray, or maybe you have Trevor Lawrence, or Matt Stafford, And so this could be a week where you play Jackson Dart because it's a divisional game, and he's proven that even on a day where he goes 15 to 33, he still had 3 touchdowns to 1 interception in the game. So, I mean, I'm going to call him a low-end 1, high-end 2 at quarterback, but not a bad bet. I like Cam Scatterbo in the game. Tyrone Tracy is a flex. And then I like Wendell Robinson. Theo Johnson and Daniel Bellinger both getting involved. But Theo Johnson scored 4 touchdowns in 4 weeks. So if I had to pick, I'd say Theo Johnson. I'll call him a mid-range tight end 1 here in this matchup. On the other side of it, I'm going to take a look at Philadelphia and what they've done most recently. And Philadelphia here winning at the Vikings 28-22 in the matchup. And Hurts, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 19 of 23. Saquon, 18 carries for 44 yards, 2.4 yards a carry. Tank finally got involved, had 1 carry for 11 yards. Devontae Smith, 9 catches, 11 targets. And again, the game against Minnesota. So they were off this past week, Philadelphia, so they had a break. And so the Giants are coming off a game where they gave up 33 points in the fourth quarter after giving up no points in the first 3 quarters, and they lost the game, where Philadelphia had a week off to rest. 9 catches, 11 targets for Devontae, and 183 yards against Minnesota on the road, and a touchdown. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Philadelphia did play this week. They did play. They didn't have a week off. I'm sorry. I don't know why I thought Minnesota had played. Minnesota did play this week, so Philly did not have a bye week. My apologies on that. Devontae, 9 catches, 11 targets, 183 yards, and a touchdown. A.J. Brown, 6 targets, 4 catches, 121 yards, and 2 touchdowns. For those of you that wanted to throw A.J. Brown in the trash at the beginning of the season, I said, he's still A.J. Brown, so you should probably not do that. So hopefully you didn't do it, or else you're kicking yourself. And then the Goddard, he had 3 targets, 3 catches, 18 yards in the game. Tank Bigsby caught one out of the backfield, the only target thrown his way. So in the matchup, I like Jalen Hurts, I like Saquon, I like A.J. Brown, I like Devontae Smith, and I probably say Dallas Goedert is a mid-range tight end 1. I do like Theo Johnson, but they're going to Philadelphia. But I mean, Theo's had 4 touchdowns in 4 weeks, so I will say that I do like Theo, because with Jackson Dart coming in, Theo's just somebody I look to and circled. He might still be available in certain leagues. And speaking of circle, let's circle Tampa at New Orleans. But yeah, I want to go back and really quick here, just look at how Theo's doing, because I definitely think that Dallas Goedert's a mid-range tight end 1. But looking at Theo Johnson by the numbers here, 3 catches, he was targeted 7 times and he had a touchdown. So Jackson Dart seems to like him here. And let's see, Theo by the numbers, he had 5 yards in the first game, then 34, then 10, then 17 and a touchdown, then 33 and 2 touchdowns, and 27 no touchdowns. That was in the last game against Philadelphia. So, I mean, in the game that they just had at Philly, and this is the crazy thing about the Giants, and well, the crazy thing about rivalries and divisional matchup is that they'll play Philadelphia now twice. In their last 3 games, they'll play them twice. So they played Philly, then at Denver, now they're at Philly. And in that game, Theo Johnson, two catches, 4 yards, 27 yards. But I still like Theo Johnson. Maybe I'll call him a low-end tight end 1 in the game. If we go back to that Philadelphia Giants game, remember the Giants won that game 34-17, and their quarterback was Jackson Dart, who went 17 of 25. He had a touchdown, no interceptions. Hurts had 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 24 of 33 for 283. Saquon, 12 carries for 58 yards. No touchdowns. And then we saw that Jalen Hurts had a rushing touchdown. Scadaboo had 3 touchdowns in the game, 19 carries, 98 yards. Dart had a touchdown on the ground, 13 carries for 58 yards. Wendell Robinson had a touchdown in the game, 7 targets, 6 catches, 84. Goddard, he had 11 targets, 9 catches, 110 yards and a touchdown. A.J. Brown, 6 catches on 9 targets, 80 yards. Devontae Smith, 4 catches on 5 targets, 49 yards. Theo Johnson, like I said, 2 for 27. So, I mean, basically the guys I told you here. But the Giants won that game. Philly's now the home team. But could the Giants do it again under Jackson Dart? So, once again, in this matchup, I like Scadaboo. I like Wendell Robinson. You might want to play Jackson Dart in this game, as I had mentioned. Theo Johnson, I like him, but I kind of temper it down a little bit. Tyrone Tracy, I give him some love. And then Saquon, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert. So I think this could be another good game. But keep in mind, the Giants didn't only win this game. They won it by double the points, 34-17. Let's go to Tampa at New Orleans. Tampa's coming off of a very atypical game for Baker Mayfield. It looked like he didn't have a good touch on the ball in this game. And they're 5-2 right now. New Orleans is awful. And New Orleans is literally the opposite of New Orleans pretty much. They played one less game. So they played the same amount of games. They're 1-6. I thought they had played 6 games. But yeah, Tampa's 5-2. New Orleans is 1-6. I like Baker Mayfield in the game. Bucky's been out, so he's questionable with a foot injury. If he stays out, I like Rashad White. I like Emeka Egbuka. And we'll see. Chris Godwin's got a lower leg injury. He's questionable. Mike Evans came back and got hurt again. Collarbone, so he's out for this game. He's not going to return until week 16. So I do like Emeka Egbuka, and I like Baker. I like Rashad White. And then on the other side of it, I mean, Spencer Rattler, he's going to continue to be the starter at quarterback. Let's take a look at, by the numbers here, how these teams did. And so Tampa in the loss on Monday Night Football against the Lions, 24-9. Like I said, an atypical game for Baker. Baker was 28 of 50, 226, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Rashad White, 10 carries, 38 yards. Sean Tucker, former Syracuse guy, 1 carry, 4 yards. Cade Otton, 9 targets, 7 catches, 65 yards. And then Tez Johnson out of Oregon, the rookie wide receiver who wears number 15, 2025 pick, round 7, pick 235 by Tampa out of Oregon. He got involved in the game. He had 4 catches on 9 targets, so he had as many targets as Cade Otton, caught 4 for 58 and a touchdown, the only touchdown that was thrown in the game by Baker Mayfield. Emeka Egbuka, 12 targets, 4 catches, 58 yards. Sterling Shepard, 7 catches on 7 targets, 25 yards. He's come up since starting his career with the Giants, and so he did some good things. Rashad White caught 4 out of 6 thrown to him out of the backfield, and Sean Tucker caught the only one thrown his way out of the backfield. I mean, I think Sean Tucker might get involved a little bit more, especially in this New Orleans game. I like Sean as a sneaky flex guy. Hopefully he can be a running back 4 for you, but I do like him in that setting. And then I like Baker. I like Emeka Egbuka. I said, Rashad White. I'm going to call Rashad a running back 2. On the other side of it, for New Orleans, the New Orleans Saints, as I said, they're 1-6 this season. This is their first of 2 games that they'll play against the Bucs in division in the NFC South. In their loss on the road to the Bears, 26-14. Kamara, 11 carries, 28 yards, 2.5 yards a carry. Rattler was 20 of 32, 233, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Olave, 7 targets, 5 catches, 98 yards. Caught the 2 touchdowns that were thrown by Rattler. Juwan Johnson continues to get involved. I love it with Spencer Rattler. It seems like they're finally using this tight end consistently. 7 targets, he caught 5, 79 yards. Rashid Shaheed, 9 targets, caught 4 for 40 yards in the game. Taysom Hill, 2 catches on the 2 targets, and he ran the ball 2 times for -4 yards, so he had -2 yards cumulative. So I like Alvin Kamara, still in this game. I'm going to call him a running back too. I like Chris Olave. I like Juwan Johnson and Rashid Shaheed. I'm going to call Olave a 1. I'm going to call Shaheed a wide receiver 2. And I'm going to call Juwan a tight end 1 because Rattler is targeting him. I'm going to call him a mid-range tight end 1. So next game we have up is Dallas at Denver. Man, Dallas, they score a lot when they're at home, which they've continued to do. Denver just finds ways to win. And I'm really excited about Denver. I told you, I predicted that Bo Nix would go to the Broncos. So did Papa Joe. PJ talked about Bo before I did. He was talking about him at Oregon well before I did. Then I got on the Bo train. We both predicted he would go to the Broncos. I predicted he would start. I predicted that Bo would have the second best season of rookie quarterbacks last year behind Jaden Daniels. And to me, that prediction was correct. Jaden went to the playoffs. Bo went to the playoffs. And so I predicted that Bo would have a good rookie season, that he would have the second best one under Jaden Daniels. And I've been a Bo fan. I continue to be a Bo fan. I think the Broncos are Bo fans. The Bronco fans are Bo fans. And, obviously the defense has shown up big and done some good things. But we've seen the offense be able to move under him. We've seen the defense do well. I think Dallas is going to have a tough day, but we'll talk about it after this fast break inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. This is the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub, NFL Week 8 of the 2025-26 season. We'll be back right after this.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jim Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. He kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Avicoli's restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicoli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. For takeout delivery and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on into the neighborhood spot Avicoli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry-loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to k9campground.com as well. That's K9, ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. K9 Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose K9 Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily?
And welcome back.
Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We are inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, who you just heard from here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And of course, we are here inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour, not one of, not a, but the Fantasy Football Power Hour, which is always the hours. And it is NFL Week 8 of the 2025-26 season, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub, 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. Make sure you head over there 7 days a week, including to watch the games, and go there to see us throughout the year as we feature the West Genesee Wildcat Sports program. Shout out to the coaches and the student athletes, and God bless to y'all, and I appreciate y'all. So with that being said, we did answer a question during the break from George, who said Harold Fannin Jr. or Aronde Gadsden II, half PPR. Aronde Gadsden is my choice, even though I like Harold Fannin. Let's get into the Dallas at Denver game, shall we? So we'll go to Dallas first. The Dallas Cowboys continue to score. Like I said, when they're at home, they continue to have a lot of scoring. And the Denver Broncos, well, they're just a dangerous team, and they're at home again. The Cowboys are 3-3-1. The Broncos are 5-2 on the season. If we look at the Dallas Cowboys and how they've done this season, on the road at the Eagles, 24-20 loss. Home against the Giants, 40-37. Then at the Bears, 31-14 loss. Then the Packers at home, tie 40-40. Then at the Jets, they won 37-22. At the Panthers, they lost 30-27. At home against the Commanders, 44-22. So they've only won one road game, and that was against the worst team in football, the New York Jets. They've lost every other road game. Now they're going to visit the Broncos, who are a very good team and can move the ball offensively and stop you defensively. And like I said, at home, this season they've had 3 games, and they score a lot when they're at home. They've scored 40 or more points in every home game at AT&T Stadium, where they've either won or tied. They won that game 40-37 against the Giants, tied the Packers 40-40, and just beat the Commanders 44-22. With the Commanders having a bunch of guys injured, they doubled them 44 points to 22 on the other side. But they have only won one road game, and that was at the Jets. And they scored 20 at the Eagles. So you think about it. At home, they're scoring 40 or more. On the road, they've scored 20, 14, 37 against the Jets, and 27 in a loss to the Panthers. So they're away from home, and they're playing a really good team with a defense that I trust. So not feeling that good about the Cowboys getting a win this week. Let's take a look at the Cowboys, though, offensively against the Commanders. 21-30 for 264, 3 touchdowns and no interceptions for Dak Prescott in the win at home against the Commanders inside of the division of the NFC East. Javonte Williams, 19 carries, 116 yards, 6.1 yards a carry, and a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb had a touchdown, 8 targets, 5 catches, and 110 yards and a touchdown. Pickens, 6 targets, 4 catches. So with CD back, I still think Pickens is going to get involved. He was 82 yards. Jake Ferguson, love what the tight end's doing. 7 targets, 7 catches, 20 yards, 2 touchdowns in the game. So yardage, or 29 yards, pardon me. Yardage-wise, not great, but 7 targets, 7 catches, 2 of those catches being for a touchdown. That's some good news there for Dallas. So in the matchup, Javonte Williams, again, when a player goes back and faces their former team, there's something to be said about them either disappearing in the game or showing up in a massive, monumental, sometimes career day. And so Rico Dowdle did it to the Cowboys when they faced Carolina. Will Javonte do it to the Broncos? So I like Javonte. I'm going to call him a running back 2 because they obviously know how to play him. So I'm going to call him a running back 2, but I still think he's worth putting out in the game. I like CeeDee Lamb, I like George Pickens, and I like Jake Ferguson. But I would still say Denver's defense and special teams you may want to think about playing because there might be some takeaways in this game. Bo Nix going up against the Cowboys defense. I'm not too concerned about the Cowboys defense. This might be a week you play Bo Nix. I'm going to call him if I look at Bo by the numbers here, because I'm kind of in between where exactly I want to call Bo in this. But if we take a look at Bo Nix and what he's done so far this season by the numbers, the recent win over the Giants, I mean, he knows how to score the ball and get the ball down the field. He had 2 touchdowns in the game. He was 27 of 50 in the matchup. If we look at, and this is the most recent one, if we look at Bo from the beginning here, 176, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, 206, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, 153, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, 326, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 242, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, 174, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. So he's had 4 games with 1 touchdown, and then he's had 2 games with 2 or more. That was against Cincinnati and against Indianapolis on the road. So he's only been, and then the Giants game, 279, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. So he's had 3 games, with 2 or more touchdowns. He's had 4 games with 1 touchdown. So, I mean, do I think that he is the crazy fantasy performer for you? Not necessarily, but I don't think he's a bad bet. I don't really trust Dallas's defense. We know that they give up points. So, I mean, he does run the ball too. He had 5 carries for 48 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Giants. So I wouldn't mind you putting Bo Nix out here against the Cowboys defense. J.K. Dobbins, 14 carries, 81 yards most recently. R.J. Harvey had 4 carries for no yards. That's great. R.J. Harvey did catch a ball out of the backfield. He had 2 thrown his way, caught 1 for a touchdown, 2-yard touchdown. So, I mean, against the Cowboys, I would look at R.J. Harvey as a low-end 2, high-end 3. This could be a good game for him. J.K. Dobbins, I'll temper my expectations. I'll call him a running back 2. I like Cortland Sutton in the game. Troy Franklin, I would say, I mean, obviously his relationship with Bo from Oregon is paying off. So I'm going to call Troy Franklin a flex, a wide receiver 3. And then Marvin Mims. Mims is a guy where he was targeted 7 times, caught 6 for 85 yards. I think he's, finally starting to come up. He signed a bunch of cards. So there's a bunch of stuff out there. And so I've seen them, there's been Marvin Mims stuff. This might be when this stuff starts being worth some money here. I like Marvin Mims in this game as well. I'm going to call him a wide receiver 2 in the matchup. And I think this is going to go Denver's way. But I think there could be a lot of scoring here, a lot of fantasy love, and I think Denver's going to be the difference. Tennessee at Indianapolis. These 2 teams have already played each other. They're in 2 different worlds. Indianapolis is not trying to win the AFC South. They're trying to win the entire AFC. 16 teams on one side of the NFL. Right now, the Colts have 1 loss. They are 6-1 on the season. Better record than the Texans, better record than the Ravens, better record than the Chiefs, better record than the Bills. So just something to look to. Tennessee is atrocious, and Tennessee right now is 1-6, second worst record in the NFL, exactly opposite the record of the Colts. And now we'll go to, and in the last matchup that they had against each other, let's take a look at how that matchup went for the Colts and the Texans. That was the 3rd week of the season, and Indianapolis, or not the Texans, the Titans. So the Colts went on the road to Tennessee. They won that game 41-20. Now the Colts are at home. The Colts just almost put up 40 and won their game on the road against the Chargers, who I think are a good team. So I do think that people owe Daniel Jones an apology. I backed him coming out. I said, listen, he was good at Duke. He was playing under quarterback guru David Cutcliffe, who helped to train the Mannings, who have won Super Bowls. Sent a bunch of quarterbacks to the NFL. I like Daniel Jones. And didn't work out with the Giants, but I like what he's doing now. Tennessee, who would I play for you in this Tennessee game? Well, if I had to pick anybody, I know that, again, paying attention to preseason, Cam Ward likes fellow rookie, who's a wide receiver, Alec Iomanner, and so he has been going to him. He did have a touchdown with him the last time they played the Colts, and Iomanner in that last game, 5 targets, 4 catches, 38 yards and a touchdown. Okonkwo was the leader In receiving, 6 targets, 5 catches, 66 yards. Tony Pollard, 16 carries, 45, 2.8 yards a carry, but he did have a touchdown in the game, and Pollard also caught 2 of the 4 thrown his way out of the backfield for 14 yards. So if I had to tell anybody for you to play this week, it would be Tony Pollard and Alec Iomanner, especially with Calvin Ridley on the injury report with a hamstring injury. So God bless to him. He hasn't had a good season thus far, but if I had to pick anyone for you, I'd pick the ones that did all right the last time and both scored. It would be Tony Pollard and Alec Iomanner. And then on the other side for the Colts, I would look at playing Daniel Jones in this game. I like Jonathan Taylor. I like Michael Pittman Jr. in the game. I like Tyler Warren, who I told you is a rookie tight end. Watch out for this guy. I drafted him, and he's one of those guys that I thought, hey, give him a few weeks, let him get comfortable, let's see what he can do. And so I do like him. And I also like Alec Pierce in the matchup as well. So if you can pick up Pierce on a waiver wire, or maybe he's out there in free agency, Alec Pierce is a guy to look to, probably more waiver wire. I don't know who would leave him in free agency, but maybe some teams that don't, or some leagues that don't have as many teams, maybe he's out there. But I do like him, especially in the PPR world, because they've been spreading the ball around, the Indianapolis Colts have. And in their game that they beat the Chargers this past week, 38-24, we go back and look at that. Pierce led the team, 10 targets. He led the team with 5 catches. He led the team with 10 targets. 5 catches, was second on the team. 98 yards led the team. Tyler Warren had 5 targets, 4 catches, 69 yards, touchdown. Michael Pittman had 9 targets, 1 less than Alec Pierce. 7 catches, led the team, 58 yards and a touchdown. So I like them all. Jonathan Taylor had 3 catches, 38 yards on 3 targets, so caught them all. 16 carries, 94 yards, and 3 rushing touchdowns against a good Chargers team. So I like Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce, and Tyler Warren, and I potentially look at playing Daniel Jones in this game. And then the next one we have is Sunday Night Football, which will take us to Green Bay at Pittsburgh. The Aaron Rodgers Bowl. How about it? Aaron Rodgers had 2 bowls this year. He had Pittsburgh to start the season against the Jets, which they won, and now he's got a chance to play his old team. So will Aaron Rodgers go 2-0 against his old teams? Green Bay has been all over the place. They've been an enigma for multiple seasons, and they continue to be that this year. It's one of my favorite words to use because there's a lot of teams that do that from year in. Well, I shouldn't say, well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of teams year in and year out that have been an enigma. The Packers are 4-1-1 because they tied the Cowboys in Dallas. Well, in Arlington, technically, because that's where the AT&T Stadium is. So Dallas, Arlington, Fort Worth, all in that same vicinity. I've been down there. I like it down there. And the Steelers are 4-2. So the Steelers just came off of Aaron Rodgers trying to get his 37th comeback win. He did not get it because Joe Flacco did some work and was able to get the victory here. Now, Green Bay 4-1-1. Let's take a look at Green Bay right now. So interesting here. They're 4-1-1 and the Steelers are 4-2. So if we look at Green Bay first, the old team of Aaron Rodgers, they just played the Cardinals, beat them on the road 27-23. And Jordan Love, 19-29, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. He was quiet. Josh Jacobs, 13 carries, 95 yards. He was louder, 4.2 yards a carry and 2 rushing touchdowns. Romeo Doubs, 8 targets, 6 catches, 72 yards. Tucker Kraft, the tight end, 10 targets, 5 catches, 58 yards, caught the only touchdown pass from Jordan Love. Matthew Golden, 4 targets, 4 catches, 37 yards. And Dontavian Wicks, he had 2 targets, 1 catch for 5 yards. Jacobs had 1 catch out of the backfield on 1 target. So I like Josh Jacobs in the game. I don't know if this is the game I'd play Jordan Love. Romeo Doubs, I'm going to call him a wide receiver 2. And I'm going to call Tucker Kraft. I'll give him mid-range tight end 1 is what I'll say. On the other side for the Pittsburgh Steelers, coming off that close loss to the Cincinnati Bengals in their game there, 33-31. Aaron Rodgers in the game had 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 23-34. Jalen Warren, 16 carries, 127 yards, 7.9 yards a carry. Pat Fryer-Muth had 6 targets, 5 catches, 2 touchdowns in the game. DK Metcalf, 5 targets, and he had 3 catches in the game for 50 yards. Jaylen Warren caught 4 of 5 out of the backfield, which was good stuff. And then we saw Roman Wilson, who had 2 targets, 2 catches in the game, and Darnell Washington had a touchdown, 5 targets, 3 catches, one of those being for a touchdown. So I would play Aaron Rodgers against his old team. I would. I'm going to call him a mid-range quarterback 1. Jaylen Warren, I like him in this matchup too. I like DK Metcalf. And Calvin Austin III, he's questionable with a shoulder injury. God willing, he's able to go. Jonnu Smith and Pat Freiermuth have both gotten involved. If I had to pick, I would pick Pat Freiermuth. I'm going to call him a mid-range, and I'll call Jonnu Smith a low-range, both tight end 1s in this matchup that I think we're going to see a victory for Aaron Rodgers. And Monday Night Football will be Washington at Kansas City. I feel bad for Washington. They were my very early, before the preseason pick to make it to the promised land, to the NFL title game. And with so many injuries, it's, you can't really knock my prediction because they've been without Terry McLaurin multiple times this season. They've been out without Jaden Daniels multiple times this season. And Debo's hurt as well. Jaden's got a hamstring injury. Terry McLaurin has a quad injury. Debo Samuel has a heel injury. So, it's hard to really gauge this team with so many injuries. I think Kansas City's going to get the win this week because of all of that. And, if I had to pick who to put out there for you for this game, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, I'm going to call him a running back 2. And, I'd look to put Zach Ertz out there. There's really nobody else I put out there for Washington hampered with injuries. I like Pat Mahomes in the game. I like Isaiah Pacheco in the game. And then I would say, obviously Travis Kelce. And then to look to see how Rashee Rice is done in his return to the fray. We'll take a look at Kansas City's game against the Raiders, where they won 31-0 in the game. And Patty Mahomes, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 26 of 35, 286. Pacheco had a rushing touchdown, 15 carries, 57 yards, 3.8 yards a carry. And then we saw Brashard Smith with 14 carries for 39 yards, getting more involved than Kareem Hunt. Brashard Smith out of SMU, covered him there. Brashard Smith he's a 2025 round 7 pick, 228 by the Chiefs. And so seeing him get involved is really cool out of SMU. And Rashee Rice also out of SMU. So you got 2 SMU guys that wore red and are now wearing red in the NFL for the Chiefs. And Rashee Rice in this game, he had 10 targets, 7 catches. Both of those led the team. 42 yards, was second on the team to Travis Kelce's 54, and 2 touchdowns to Rashee Rice in his NFL return this season after serving a suspension. So I like Rashee Rice in the game. I like Travis Kelce. I like Isaiah Pacheco. Brashard Smith could be a sneaky play there, but I'm going to call him a running back 4. And of course, I like Pat Mahomes in the game as well. I mean, Tyquan Thornton, he got targeted 2 times. He caught 1 of those, so not too involved. Brashard caught 5 out of the backfield from the 5 thrown his way, which is why I like him as a flex running back even more so. And Hollywood Brown was relatively quiet with Rashee Rice coming back. So I like Kelce, I like Rashee Rice, Pat Mahomes, Isaiah Pacheco, and I would flex out Brashard Smith. He might still be available in free agency or your waiver wire. So that's how I'm looking at this week in fantasy football. We'll take our final step aside from inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. This is Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, the Fantasy Football Power Hour, the Wildcat Sports Pub, NFL Week 8 of the 2025-26 season. We will be back in just a moment to wrap up the show. Make sure that you keep in mind that the Cardinals, the Lions, the Jaguars, the Raiders, the Rams, and the Seahawks are all on bye week, so do not play any of those players unless you want to lose a spot.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because We make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvalite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvalite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. Find your way to GG Cards and Breaks Tuesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 and Sundays from 10 to 5. They are closed on Mondays, and they just upgraded the upgrade. They took everything they had, they brought in more display, and then Josh worked on it from there. They've done an incredible job. They're always up in the ante at GG Cards and Breaks to look good, feel good, give you that experience. It's that community vibe. It's like the central perk of sports cards. So find your way over to GG Cards and Breaks today, and I appreciate them for all they do in the trading card world of Disney Lorcana, Magic the Gathering, One Piece, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, as well as with sports cards, football, basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer, wrestling, and more. You can also get all the supplies you need to protect your cards, travel with your cards, and showcase them. It's a one-stop shop at the place that helps you be a big kid every day at GG Cards and Breaks. I want to give a big thanks to Chick-fil-A in DeWitt as well. The Behemoth, that brick building that you can't miss on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie, double drive-through, and a fantastic place for you to go. Use the app, order in the drive-thru, or go inside. Make sure that you go over to Chick-fil-A DeWitt today. Megan Sorber and her team, a few months old here in our community, the newest Chick-fil-A in Central New York, and they are empowering your students and student athletes in the community to learn what it truly means to have great guest service. So make sure you go out and support the kids, support your community today at Chick-fil-A DeWitt on the corner of Bridge and Erie. With that being said, on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to thank you for listening to the show, as always, on youtube.com and facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com, up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time and beyond. Here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, you can also get the broadcast by going to our wonderful archives on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. And of course, make sure to support our Central and Upstate New York partners at Great Lakes Honda City, Carvel DeWitt. Don't let the cold weather fool you. It's buy one, get one every Wednesday. So buy a Sunday, get a Sunday. Buy one, get one Sundays at Carvel DeWitt. And of course, they're open 7 days a week and all throughout the seasons at 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. Big time thanks to the Wildcat Sports Pub for our fantasy football coverage and everything they do. GG Cards and Breaks, who you just heard me talk about. Myers Creek, where Wake Up Call is there for you on Syracuse football home game day broadcasts. We got 2 more left. Home games Friday, October 31st on Halloween. Isaac and I will be at Myers Creek at 4:30 p.m. previewing the Syracuse, North Carolina game, which kicks off at 7:30. And 2 days after Thanksgiving, we'll be there on November 29th against Boston College. That time is to be determined because they haven't determined the time of the game yet. We'll see you at Myers Creek in the Syracuse Inner Harbor for Syracuse football coverage in Wake Up Call game day. And, of course, we'll also see you out in Cazenovia, 33 Rippleton Road in Cazenovia, New York, out on the countryside with beautiful views all year long, especially now. Head out to Myers Creek for the fall views of all the leaves changing colors and the trees and just like the vast natural paintbrush that God has given to this world. Head out to Myers Creek on 33 Rippleton Road in Caz, as well as the Inner Harbor on 720 Van Rensselaer Street in Syracuse, New York. Big time thanks to Chick-fil-A Cicero, Mother's Cupboard, Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world, where you need to go get all your Halloween surprises. Your kids will thank you. Game Point Sports Complex, Chick-fil-A DeWitt, Canine Camp, Dog Daycare, Pizza Man, Brian's Landing, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Avicoli's, and of course we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse. You'll find your Bobcats every single month with student athletes, coaches, and administration joining me throughout the year to tell the story of the Bobcats. And they have vied for national championships in men's and women's basketball. They have vied for and won national championships in men's and women's soccer, and they got a baseball program on the up and up. So come and see all that we have with the Bobcats by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our BSC Syracuse playlist. The Bobcats are going to be active today. You can go and see them play a home match for women's soccer, as today is game day, October 22nd. Here at 3 p.m. Eastern Time at the CNY Sports Center. You'll see them outside taking on Roberts Wesleyan College. And so make sure you go and see them today and support the women's soccer team for the Bobcats. And of course, you'll find all the Bobcat buzz, like I said, on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, find our BSC Syracuse playlist. You'll also find the Bobcats on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bearcats every Tuesday during Bearcat Time at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And, of course, you can find all of our content with student-athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Binghamton playlist. The Bearcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. Can't help but dance to that music. The Onondaga Community College Lasers are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Lasers every other Wednesday on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. So the next time they'll be on is this coming Wednesday, October 29th at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. There are men's and women's soccer programs out there doing a great job, as well as their work in the world of cross country, and you got to show love to the work that they're doing in volleyball as well. Basketball season's coming up and so much more. You could find our specials with the Lasers by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our OCC playlist. You'll also find the Lasers on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to onondagalasers.com and go Lasers. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to thank you for tuning into today's broadcast of the show. I hope you have a fantastic day, and you can see what's popping. That'll be Papa Joe, so that'll all be filled in and ready to go for tomorrow as PJ takes over the show as we do on a Thursday. Great Lakes Honda City Studios, Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at wakeupcall_DT. For now, from the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, I say God bless, no stress, do your best. Thank you for making my birthday so very special, and I trust in the Lord. I'll talk to you soon.